biological laboratory, individual cells isolated from multicellular organisms are very often the subject of research. Research on cells gives us information about the functioning of the entire organism. How did such research contribute to the understanding of human cells? If we take a look at a multicellular organism, like a human being, we find different types of cells. In the brain, we find long branched nerve cells. The blood flowing through the arteries has many biconcave disc-like red blood cells in it. If we shift our attention to the alimentary canal and study the inner lining of the intestine, we find some columnar cells. But when we look at the muscles in the hand, we find long muscle fibers. Let us summarize. Different types of cells found in multicellular organisms are nerve cells, red blood cells, columnar cells, etc. In the muscles, we find long muscle fibers. Have you ever been hurt so badly that your blood ran out from the wound? Blood is actually one of the animal tissues. It belongs to the so-called fluid tissues, in which cells are suspended in fluid. Blood is both a tissue and a liquid matrix, plasma, which makes the blood fluid. Explore our wide array of videos to gather more knowledge about it.
Keep imbibing. We believe in you.
Here's a fun fact for you. When we eat the food that we like, we tend to chew our food in a leisurely manner, enjoying the taste. However, when we are eating some boring food, we gobble it up quickly. But this habit of gobbling up food is bad for digestion. The digestive system makes nutrients available to the body and provides energy. The body gets energy from the delicious food we eat. But the food we eat is actually the raw material, and the body has to extract energy from it by digesting it. As we bite the food and chew it, the process of digestion begins in the mouth. It is the first step in the long process of digestion. From the mouth, food passes into the esophagus, a tubular structure that leads into the stomach. The muscles in the wall of the stomach contract, thus the food is pushed down into the stomach. The stomach, with all its digestive or gastric juices, breaks down the food into simple molecules. The food contains proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and vitamins. This food moves into the duodenum. The liver, through the common duct, releases bile, which flows into the duodenum and helps in breaking fat into smaller particles. Pancreas releases juices that help to digest proteins. This food passes into the middle part of the small intestine. Inside the small intestine, we observe numerous villi. Now, the food is in its simplest form and can be absorbed by the villi, which possess the lacteal and the blood vessels. The fats are absorbed into the lacteals, and the proteins, vitamins, and carbohydrates are absorbed into the blood vessel. The useful food moves into the blood vessel from the small intestine and then circulates throughout the body before reaching the cells where it is used as a source of energy. The undigested roughage and water pass into the large intestine, which has three main segments called colons. Inside the colon, we observe many useful bacteria. These useful bacteria engulf the undigested food particles and produce vitamins that are useful to the body. The excess water is also absorbed by the walls of the large intestine. The undigested food reaches the rectum and is excreted out through the anus. Thus, the digestive system comprising of the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine helps to provide the body with the crucial life-sustaining nutrients. Let us summarize. The human digestive system consists of an alimentary canal and its associated glands. The various organs of the human digestive system are mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. The glands which are associated with the human digestive system are liver and pancreas. Digestion of food begins in the mouth. In the stomach, the gastric juices help in the breakdown of proteins into small particles. In the small intestine, bile from the liver helps break down fat, and pancreatic juices from pancreas help in the breakdown of the food into simple molecules. The villi present on the inner surface of the small intestine helps in absorbing digested food and circulates it throughout the body. The excess water is absorbed in the large intestine and the undigested food is excreted through the anus. Our body is amazing. Any part of our body that gets damaged is capable of repairing itself. But there's one exception. Teeth are the only parts of the human body that don't heal themselves. Hence, it is vital to take care of our teeth. So brush your teeth and stay tuned with us to explore more videos.
Keep imbibing. We believe in you.
Just for a minute, imagine that your lungs are taken out of your body and stretched out. If this were to happen at a tennis court, your lungs would cover all of it. Yep, that's how huge your lungs are. Now let's understand how they help you breathe. Our objective is to understand how the lungs and the rib cage help in the process of breathing. Breathing is a vital process which is essential for all living organisms. In human beings, breathing is affected by the outward and the downward movements of the rib cage. During inspiration, the ribs move and are lifted outwards. Simultaneously, the diaphragm muscles contract, pulling down the diaphragm. As a result, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases and air pressure in the lungs decreases. Hence, the volume of air in the alveoli also decreases. Therefore, the external air is pulled into the lungs through the pharynx, larynx, and bronchi. This process is termed inspiration. After this process, the ribs move downward and simultaneously the diaphragm relaxes. Now, the thoracic cavity is restored to its normal volume. The lungs are now compressed, forcing air outwards, out of the lungs, into the nostrils and out. This process is termed expiration. So, we can conclude that during inspiration and expiration, the lungs and ribcage function in a synchronized manner. In an adult, when resting, the normal breathing rate is 14 to 18 times per minute. Let's summarize. Breathing is a vital process which is essential for all living organisms. In human beings, breathing is affected by the outward and downward movements of the ribcage. During inspiration, volume of the thoracic cavity increases and air pressure in the lungs decreases. Therefore, the external air is pulled within the lungs through the pharynx, larynx, and bronchi. During expiration, the lungs are compressed, forcing air outwards, out of the lungs into the nostrils and out. This process is termed expiration. In a normal human, the breathing rate is 14 to 18 times a minute. Now that you know a little about what happens inside your body, I say let's delve a little deeper. Up for the challenge? Keep watching to learn more.
Keep imbibing. We believe in you.
Have you heard the phrase in the blink of an eye? Ever thought where this phrase originated from? The eye is the fastest muscle in your body. Hence, when something fastest happens, we say it happened in the blink of the eye. In humans, the eye is the organ of vision that helps in detecting light. Each eye is set in a bony socket of the skull. The human eye is almost spherical in shape. There are various parts of an eye. The eye has a lens, suspensory ligaments, vitreous humor, fovea, optic nerve, blind spot, retinal blood vessels, and ciliary muscles. The eye also has a sclera, retina, choroid layer, cornea, pupil, and iris. The light passes through the eye lens, which bends it to focus it on the innermost layer of the retina. The area most sensitive to light on the retina is the fovea. It contains the visual sensing apparatus, the light receptor cells called rods and cones. The rods are cylindrical in shape and contain the synaptic lamella, which is attached to the neuron. It also bears a nucleus. The rod can be divided into an inner segment and an outer segment. The inner segment of the rod contains numerous mitochondria and Golgi bodies. The rod is attached to the pigmented epithelial cells. Similarly, if we look at the cone, we find a pedicle at the top, then the inner cone fiber. The nucleus is the most prominent structure in the cone. The inner segment consists of mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus. The cone can be divided into an inner segment and an outer segment. The cone is attached to the pigmented epithelial cells. When the light falls on a receptor cell in the retina, the cell sends a message along an optic nerve to the brain. Let's summarize. In humans, the eye is the organ of vision that helps in detecting light. The eye has a lens, suspensory ligaments, vitreous humor, fovea, optic nerve, blind spot, retinal blood vessels, and ciliary muscles. The eye also has a sclera, retina, choroid layer, cornea, pupil, and iris. Light passes through the eye lens, which bends it to focus it on the innermost layer of the retina. Retina contains the visual sensing apparatus, the light receptor cells called rods and cones. When light falls on a receptor cell in the retina, the cell sends a message along an optic nerve to the brain. We see with our brain and not with our eyes. A great example of this is an optical illusion. Keep exploring to unveil the mechanism of vision.
Keep imbibing. We believe in you.